Hi, welcome to day 3 of the challenge. And let me let all these people in. Um, so I was really moved by your whys. They were some of them, oh my God, some of you guys should be writers. I mean, some of them were so prolific and why you want to do this and what's your bigger reason. I just loved so much reading them. And again, I feel like with these first few assignments, it's not really my job to really um criticize you, except for there was one that I felt like I just wanted to talk about a minute. And I don't know that she's here. Let me see if she's here. Um, no, she's not. So I don't want to use her name because she's not here. But there was one where someone said that they wanted an agent, and the why is that they felt like the agent would make their life easier and they wouldn't have to work so hard. This is my opinion, and this is only my opinion. As your company gets bigger and bigger, if you want to have a big company, you can decide the size of your company and what you want to do, how much money you want to make, how long you want to be at this. All of those are decisions that you have the ability to make, right? But but it's hard work. Being an entrepreneur, which is which is what you are as an actor, is not for the faint of heart. It's not going to be easy. And having an agent is not going to make it easier. And if you have some idea that getting an agent is going to make things easy for you, it's not. It's not going to make it. First of all, finding an agent, first of all, an agent is never going to make things easy for you. They're never going to run your company to the extent. I mean, even Margot Robbie would tell you that, right? I mean, Margot Robbie has a lot of people that work in her company, you guys. She probably has 2 or 3 assistants. She has a publicist. She has a stylist. She has attorneys. She has everything, right? She's running a gigantic company, right? That's a full-time job. That's a lot of work, right? And yes, when you get to be gigantic, you have to hire people because there's no way without you weren't going to sleep that you could handle all of it. But the idea that an agent is going to make things easier and you won't have to work so hard, that's not a great idea. That's not a okay, try to mute everyone. If you're talking, please mute. Um uh it's not going to make it easier to have an agent. That doesn't make things easier. Um, and so I just want to clarify that, right? And so and mind you, I told you to write whatever you wanted because I didn't want to judge what you wanted and why you wanted it. Like I told you guys yesterday, you don't need to have this big like I want to save humankind. Why? If that's not really your why. But I wanted you to dig a little deeper than it would make things easier. Because I think that you need to ask yourself, why do you need to make things easier? That's the question I would ask. Like, why? Keep going deeper on that question. So anyway, that's for you. I don't want to say your name, but I just wanted to say that was my feedback for that comment. Um, but for the most part, I really, I mean, I loved reading them. I had a really emotional morning. I listened to Ram Dass, and I did some heavy journaling, and I was like in a real spiritual place this morning, and it was like, anyway, just like, that was compounded with what I read that you guys wrote. Okay, one more of these, and then we're gonna go. I say that, let me just see. Um, okay. Okay. I'm seeing what? Okay, so tomorrow we're going to go to get into more of the specific roles and branding, and then we're going to go start getting down the pipeline of actually doing the work, right, to get the dream role. But one more question for you today, which is another thinker. My question to you today is, why do you think you haven't gotten what you want? Why do you think? Now, this is where maybe you can say, because I haven't had the right agent, or, I'm a procrastinator, or I don't think my type's in, or whatever reason. I'm really interested in the reason that you've made up in your head. So, Carolyn, I'm speaking to you because maybe my voice isn't good enough to make money. That's the reason you told me yesterday, right? So, Carolyn's a client and we're working on her voiceover career. And she said, maybe I'm not booking because my voice isn't good enough. So that's what I would write down, Carolyn. I mean, that's what your thing is. Like right now, that's what you're thinking. Whatever you're thinking right now, why are you not getting what you want to get? Or why haven't you quite gotten what you want? I mean, if you're exactly getting what you want to get right now, then don't do the exercise. But if there is something that you're not getting, or you're frustrated for not getting, or you feel like you should have gotten it already, I want to know why you think you haven't. That might take a little bit of digging and it might be uncomfortable. So just to help you this morning, we all have areas in our life where we feel like one foot is nailed down and we're going in a circle, repeating the same mistake, expecting different results, which is the definition of insanity. Every one of us has some place in our life where that happens, right? And mine is money. Mine is money. And so 12 years ago, when I started this business, of course, when you start a business, guess what you run right smack up and dab in front of is your money story, or the beliefs that you have around money, right? And I feel like 12 years ago, I opened this big chest that was filled with, like a hope chest that maybe has clothes in it that you stored for a long time. And I started unpacking the chest. And a year and a half ago, I got really deep into the chest. Like I'm the deepest in the chest now. And this morning I wrote down my money story again, like when it started. And for me, it started when I was 5 years old, when I went to the ice cream truck with a dime. This is how old I am, a dime to buy a popsicle. And the kid in front of me told me that the nickel was bigger, so therefore it was worth more money. And I traded him. And then when I got to the front, I couldn't get my popsicle because I only had a nickel. And I remember, like, at 5 years old, thinking, I'm bad with money. I'm stupid. Right. And that sort of set off this chain of events for the last 55 some years, that I've built this money story that I now, for the last 12 years, have been unpacking. Right. So when I ask you why you haven't gotten something, it might not be the real truth, but I want you to try to unpack that chest for yourself. Like, oh, well, just using Carolyn as an example again, my voice isn't good enough. When else have you not been good enough? Like, when has that been your story that's made you stop something? Right? I don't know if that is true, but see if it is. Like, look and see if it's deeper than that. And so this question, why have you not gotten what you want, can get kind of sticky. That's why I told you the story of me this morning writing my money story again, because I feel like, oh my God, when am I going to get through this? Right. But it's been a journey, and so I want you guys to do that, because if in fact I'm going to help you book your dream role and get on to your acting career, I need to help you look at what has been stopping you so far. And it might have been for a long time. it might be one of those things that you've been doing for a long time in other areas of your life, and you're like, oh yeah, right, if I just had this, or if I just could lose this weight, or if I just had this money, or if I just lived in America, right, or if I just lived in London, or if I just, wasn't married to who I'm married to, or whatever your story is, I want you to go, what is that thing? Okay, that's your homework. All right, good. I'm going to open up the floor for questions. Who has a question? Carolyn. Oh, you had your conversation with James. Wasn't he amazing? Ah, I'm so happy for you. Yeah, Carolyn, come off mute for a second.
Yeah, I want to tell you, I wrote you a note thanking you. He was a wealth of information, and he's what altered my whining yesterday about I'm not good enough to I haven't done it right. My approach, my presentation to potential customers has been too scattered. I have not defined myself. We talked about branding. I have not done a good job so that when they see my presentations, there's no focus. So he gave me a lot of information on where to go, who to listen to, where to find information, what to do. It was wonderful. So again, thank you for
You're
that
welcome.
introduction.
Yeah, so she's talking about James Hallett. Right, yes, and Me Kwan knows James Hallett is amazing. James Hallett is a Yale grad coach. He's one of my best friends. If all the clients know him because he's often around, and we do a monthly podcast together called The Wealthy Actor. And he is just he after he graduated from Yale, he did some intensive dream work. And so sometimes, like when I have a client that is, because like I'm just an actress that helps you guys figure out how to get an acting career, right? Or to get to the next level in your career. I'm really good at that. I've always been good at that. I've been doing it for years. But like I'm not a therapist, and I'm not at all like that. And sometimes, I've learned how to help you get out of your way by working with actors for the last 12 years. And it's not just actors. I mean, it's a human thing, right? I've learned how to help people get out of their way. But like James is also doing audiobooks right now, and that's what Carolyn wants to do. So I knew that combined with his knowledge of audiobooks and his his um his amazing ability to work on mindset with so many of my clients, that I knew it was a perfect match for her. So I sent her there, and I'm so glad you went to him, because he's great. He's also a really good coach. I personally coach with 3 coaches for my acting career. James Dumont, and I highly recommend James Dumont. If you look him up, you will recognize him. He has an online class, where you can go and sit in. You can pay just to sit in. And but he is like the master of giving the best audition self-tape. And you will, when you see him, you'll believe it, because he's in every freaking movie, you guys. He's a series regular on Righteous Gemstones. But you can go look him up, James Dumont. He does an on-camera, I think his thing is called On-Camera Workouts. I think that's the site even. And you can sign up just to go sit in on a class. You don't even have to work. And then if you're brave, you can pay to work, and you only have to go to one class. You don't have to sign up for like a month or anything like that. You can go to one class. And he, way after I booked a lot of things, he was in LA doing a guest star on a show. And my friend's like, oh, do you want to go take James Dumont's class? And I was like, sure. And so, he sent me this monologue from 3 Billboards in Ebbing, Montana, or whatever that was, the one that she won the Oscar for. And and I went and took it, and I was memorized, like, of course, because I was going in front of this big actor, and so I wanted to be good. And so I was like totally memorized, and he showed me some technical tricks that blew my mind, you all. Blew my mind. And I am a trained actress. I am someone that has studied with some of the greatest teachers in the world, and I have worked in every medium, and I was blown away. And this was just like less than 10 years ago that I took this class with him. So I send a lot of people to him. He's great. James Dumont. Then next is Kurt Kohler, Koehler. He again teaches an online class. He's in LA. James Dumont is in New Orleans. Chris Pan, who's on here, who's a client in London, has taken class with Kurt Kohler in Los Angeles. So, like, hello. Kurt was a casting director, and he's also an actor, and he has a nice part in Oppenheimer. And he works a lot. And Kurt is Laura Bofill, who's one of my clients, who books, all the clients know she books all of the time. She coaches with him on pretty much every audition, and then he also reads with her. And she pretty much keeps him on retainer because she auditions several times a week, and she books about once a month. And so she coaches with Kurt, and Kurt's great because every class you get a co-star and a guest star. So you're working every class, and he's phenomenal. And then the last one is James Hallett, who we were just talking about. So James Hallett coached me on things like Othello with Denzel Washington, the first season of True Detective. Like when I get really big auditions that are like freaking me out because they're so gigantic and I have to be brilliant, I go to James Hallett because he's a Yale trained actor. He's coached some of my biggest booking clients, like Angela Yo, for you guys that know Angela Yo, my client in London, who is in everything, like, Slow Horses, Silo, The Baby, right? The Batman. She said she's in everything. He coached her a lot. He also coached my client, Alexander, who was a series regular on House of Cards and The Americans. He coached him for those. And I saw Alex on something else the other day. I was like, oh, what was it? I forget. But Alex was in something else. I was like, oh, Alex. So he coaches like some of my big actors. He coaches people all over the world. If I have a really deep audition, I'm going to go to James Hallett. So those are my three coaches, and I highly recommend all three of them for you guys that are looking for a really good coach to study with. I think they're all really good, and they all three have the resume, and the ability to get you wherever you need to get to. Okay, who has a question? Come on. Who has a question? Chris, you had your hand up and then you put it down. What's going on?
All right, let me come back.
No, now you muted yourself. Okay.
I know. I'm back now. Yeah, I just wanted to say that, I use Kurt on occasion to do self-tapes.
Yeah.
When I was abroad, I did one it was a major one.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get it. We couldn't get it. I had an technical issue, but that's something else. Okay. So he's great.
Mhm.
And so is James. I also, I got a recall because James, he really helped me with one self-tape.
James Hallett.
Yes, yes. For actually, which is a speech I spoke to you about yesterday, which is the satanic sorcerer, and I got a recall, but they shelved the movie.
Good. But he's coached you on some big things that really helped you.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm putting the names right now in the thing. There they are. And James Dumont, Dumont. Yes, Gracie. Hi.
Hi.
You see,
I on?
every
Okay.
time I say your name, I look down to see if my dog's here, but she's downstairs.
I'll just start barking, and then we'll all feel great. So, as you're saying all these things, I have a very clear idea of why I'm not where I want. And it just gives me a stomach ache. And, it just makes me, it hits all those points that say, oh, I'm not good enough because I'm not doing enough. And, I mean, on the practical side, like I say, I know what I need to do, but then it's the emotional side that makes me go, I just want to go lie down. And I'm wondering, wondering if you have any
Sometimes
thoughts on.
it's good to go lay down. I mean, sometimes,
Yeah,
there, when you have a knot in your back and
Yeah.
you maybe get a massage and they're massaging the knot, and then sometimes they just have to leave it the fuck alone because it's like, you're aggravating it. Like, that's how I feel about the money portion of mine. Like, the things that have helped me with that very thing is how to eat an elephant one bite at a time.
you're right.
Right. So, and also systems and operating procedures and scheduling and batching, all of those things. Like what I did starting 14 months ago was I started this thing called the money ritual. And
Mhm.
so I write down, like, I wrote down my new money story, my new money persona. I have money affirmations. I have my financial vision. I come up here, I turn on some music that I like, and then I light a candle, and then I read all of those things out loud. Like, what is my goal? Where am I going? What am I doing? And then I do my numbers for my personal life and for my business every Friday morning. And I make that time non-negotiable. And now it's become a habit. So one of the things that I think is, and we're going to talk about this, like, especially like as we get into like the nuts and bolts starting this towards the end of the week and then next week, is that one of the things that I do with the clients is I ask them to do 5 outreaches towards their customer base a week. And the reason 5, I mean, most of my clients do way more than that. But the reason I give it 5 is because I know that 5 is doable. And when you're starting, it's not so big and daunting. And then we also talk a lot about scheduling and about then about accountability partners. I mean, that's one thing that I think really works within at least my program is the group modality, because when we're all together, we're supporting each other, and there's this feeling of like, I can do it if Lauren is doing it, if Dawn is doing it, if Mike is doing it, if Helene is doing it, if Jay is doing it, I can do it too. Like, I can get it done. Right. And so that really helps. And I think it's like really about doing, okay, you know what? I will go take a nap, but before I do take a nap, I'm going to do one thing. One thing. Right. And so what is that one thing? It might be like, so let me just give you the order of business, Grace, because this helps.
Okay.
The order of business. So the reason that actors fail is because they don't follow the order of business. The order of business is number 1, capture the cash, which means selling yourself to the people that are going to actually write you a check to act. That's the most important thing that you should be doing on a daily basis in your acting business. Second most important thing is being in contact with people that have previously written a check for you to act. Right? Like staying in contact with the people, because it's not just about one reach out, it's about 15 reach outs, 20 reach outs. That's the second most important thing. The third most important thing is administration, which is which is where actors love to be, right? It's like looking for an agent, setting up my database, figuring out how my office is going to be, getting my postcards done, right? All the stuff that has to do with running your business. That's the third most important thing. The fourth most important thing is product development, which is acting class. So if I walk into a room right now of 1,000 actors and say, what are you doing about your career? This is what they're going to, 99% of the people in the room are going to tell me this. Well, I'm going to get new headshots soon. I'm looking for an agent because mine sucks. And I'm thinking about taking this really good acting class. That was just 3 and 4. That's what you just told me, 3 and 4. That is why you're not working as an actor. Because if you built a restaurant and all you did was take cooking classes, change the look of your menu and your restaurant, and keep hiring managers to manage your restaurant, you would not have a restaurant for very long because you wouldn't be making any money. So you've got to focus on being in business. That's why it's not easy. It's like, oh, no one told me that in acting school, and no one told any of you that in acting school. The extent of what they told you in acting school was get an agent. That's all they told you. Right? Maybe
Yeah.
some of you were lucky enough, like at Juilliard, at least they have Brian O'Neill, right, which wrote The Acting as a Business, which is one of the great business of acting books. But for the most part, if you are not a left brain person, and most of you don't have a lot of activity in your left brain, most of you live completely in your right brain, in your creative brain. So when I talk to you about these left brain things, you're like, what? And I get that. I mean, I get that. I come from entrepreneurship. My dad was a successful entrepreneur. So what happened to me, Gracie, was I went to acting school. I went to one of the big acting schools, and and what did they tell me? Get an agent. So I was a good girl. I got the agent. I went to New York, and then I sat there with my thumb up my ass going, I felt like there was something else I was supposed to be doing. And every time I went to my agent and said, what else should I be doing? He would be like an ass to me. He'd be like, take an acting class. For God's sakes, I just got out of a 4-year conservatory. Why do I want to take a frickin' acting class? Right? Like, that's what he would say. And then when I would say, and I know you guys know what I mean, when I would say, can you get me an audition for so-and-so? He would say, oh, you don't have enough credits to get that. I can't get you into that room. You don't have enough credits. Right. And so it was like this catch-22 thing. You got to have credits to get credits. Who's felt that before? You got to have credits to get credits, right? It just feels like it's like, you only have to be in New York, London, or LA for 1 year to be fully ensconced in the straitjacket of everything you're not supposed to do. Right. And so, it was frustrating. But what I did was I went and studied business. And then I started to go, wait a minute, who are my customers? Oh, producers, directors, writers, casting directors. Well, what happens if I just go directly to them without my agent? So I started to do that. And then I found out they were doing the Crucible in New York. Arthur Miller was going to be involved. It was a big deal. Ruth Nelson, whose career was ruined by McCarthy, which is what the Crucible is about, was going to be Frances Nurse. I mean, it was a big deal, right? And I said, I want to be Mercy Lewis. He goes, oh, you don't have the credits. I took my headshot. I walked to the casting office. I gave them my headshot. I got the audition and I booked the job. And was for me the very first light bulb that went off that was like, oh, this isn't what they told me in acting school, right? So that's for me, that was the first light bulb. And then there's been I talk about the light bulbs on my website, the light bulbs that went off that led me, because when I first started teaching business of acting in 1995, I thought I was thinking differently than I'm thinking now in nearly, soon to be 2025. I think differently about it because I've worked with thousands of actors and my own journey in it. And that I realized that, it's unfolded as I've gone, and oh, and the truth is, like we said yesterday, there's no rule book. There's no rule book. It doesn't exist. So people will tell you, well, that's not the way it's done around here.
Mhm.
Okay.
Let me ask you, did you
Yeah.
say the order of business? Did you say there were 5 points or 4?
4.
Oh, good. I got him. Okay. No, yep. You've just described my life. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And
Yeah.
I actually
So yeah.
I have to go
So
because
capture the cash. Like
Yeah.
just look at like who can I reach out to? I would start with low hanging fruit. You were in a loop group. You told me that. You worked as an you worked and you sort of were like, okay, I don't want to do that anymore. But is there someone somewhere in there that you could go like, hey, I'm back at this again. I just wanted to say hello. Like go to your low hanging fruit. Always start
Okay.
with the people that have hired you before.
Okay.
Okay.
And I just wanted to let you know, thank you. I love this workshop so much. And I have to go because I have an acting class I have to go to at 11. So
Okay. And don't forget, like tomorrow I'm speaking. If you're in New York, I'm speaking at the Winter Film Awards.
oh no, I'm in LA.
Oh, you're in LA. Okay. Bye, Gracie.
Thank you.
Yeah. Violetta.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
So I don't really have a question.
Okay.
I have more of an observation.
Okay.
I found myself sort of like combining what I want and my why,
Okay.
and sort of like I noticed how community can sometimes and hardships can sometimes inspire things
Yeah.
even when they're bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, so and how like I don't know how like adversity and all that stuff, um even though it's really like you can get through it by putting into positive um reinforcements and reaching out to people. Yeah, I don't know, so I like got like this inspiration for like I've been like reaching out to people, like just ranting online anonymously, but about like the anti-Semitism I've been experiencing, and people have been like really supportive, and they actually inspired me, and we like inspired each other, and they said, hey, if you ever make this movie or write this book, let me know. So it was really nice to hear, and like also like I'm getting back to my family has a very complicated relationship with our Jewish identity. It's very complicated. But and we didn't really, so I want to learn about, so we abandoned it. It's been like sort of, so I'm learning more about that. So yeah, it's weird how creativity and also adversity can, even though can help,
Yes.
yeah, and just community, how can it can help people out.
That's great. That's great. And I'm glad that you're in touch with that. I've seen you grow in the time that I've known you. I've seen you grow as a young woman. And I think it's really important to combine your passion. You know, it's so much easier to reach out to someone when you're passionate about what they do,
Mhm.
right? Or passionate about what they talk about in their movies or their TV shows. I mean, like, you know, when you've seen a movie that's moved you or a TV show that's moved you, it's so easy to reach out to someone. You don't have to feel like you're fake, right? So that's part of it. But also, I've seen you fall down and get back up, fall down and get back up. And I think, you know, it's just you growing as a young woman that has been really amazing watching. And, you know, no matter what, you keep showing up. And that's what's going to, Violet, I have this like imagination for you that I'm going to see you one day on like Jimmy Kimmel or, you know, and you're going to be like, it was hard. It was really hard, you know, and like, and that, but then now you've gotten over that and you're where you need to be. And, you know, and so I just, you know, applaud you for what I've seen you go through. So great job. Great job. Thanks you. Thank you for sharing that. Yay. Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions today? Okay, so again, the homework is, why are you not getting what you want? So you've identified what you want, why, what the why is it? Why do you want that? And now I want to know why you think you're not getting it. What, and you might interpret that as like what's gotten in your way. But, and it could just be like, you really think this is why you haven't gotten it. You know, it doesn't have to be just why you think you haven't gotten it. That's it. I want you to know why you haven't gotten it, right? And then I promise starting tomorrow, we're going to get more specific towards your booking your dream role, right? And then as the weekend, and don't forget on Saturday, we're going to meet again at 1 p.m. just to answer all Q. So bring your questions for Saturday. Tell your friends if they want to join us on Saturday and sort of do catch up to the challenge. We're going to do that, and I will answer all questions on Saturday, and I will stay a little longer if you need those questions to be answered for you. And anything about your acting career, I want to answer anything about what is going on for you. And I just saw you, Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Hi. Good to see you. You know, Camila is one of my clients. Did you know that? Do you remember Camila? You know Camila, right? Camila Roman. She's from the Netherlands.
Okay, I'm not sure. Hi.
She was like, hi. She was in the very first, one of the very first classes.
Yeah.
You were pretty early on too.
Yeah, 06.
Yeah, she was there, Camila. She
And I was
did that, so,
24.
yeah. What?
And now it's 24.
Oh my God.
We've known each other for 18 years. Val.
18 years. I know. I've known Sarah for 20 years. And so then Camila must be like 16 years.
Yeah.
It was a couple years ahead of you. Yeah.
Wow.
It's good to see you.
You too.
Yeah. Andy, you have a question? Andy Poland? Andy, I saw your hand up and then it went down, or maybe not. Yes. Hi, Andy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. I'm confused about why I'm not getting. I just booked a really good role, and that was all through Instagram, believe it or not. Getting to know, I followed, someone stole my Instagram account like a year and a half ago. And when I came back, I clicked actors, I clicked casting, I clicked showrunners, I'm like following everyone in the world to cast, and gotten some great conversations with the producer who decided to call me and audition me. And I'm flying out to LA in 2 weeks. But as far as New York goes, I'm having problem I have an agent, but I'm not getting in front of the right people that like the shows I want. And I write them, I email my success and my progress. I don't want to keep spending a ton of money on pay to play, because the ones I have done that for, I know, or I've done already. I don't want to keep going back and saying, here I am again. And gotten very high compliments, about my work, or, just small adjustments of what I'm doing. But again, it's like, then I don't hear again, and, someone actually answered me from Telsey the other day and says, I can't wait to work with you. That was an absolute shock, but I just don't know how to get in front of the right. Can't bug them every other minute with emails.
So
and
here's what I want to say to you, Andy. The way that you booked this is through Instagram. So what I always say to my clients is keep doing what's getting results. So if, I have a girl that I worked with that booked something like 20 to 30 paid films during COVID, no agent.
God.
Right. And she did that by IMDb Pro and finding the director on Instagram. And then she built this whole, like, everyone began to know who she is. She produced her own film. Like, she's doing all the, that's the way there are a million ways to climb the mountain. Getting an agent and getting auditions is one of those million ways, right? You are going on Instagram and now you book something and you're going to LA. I would say keep doing that because that's what's working for you.
Yeah.
Right. And so don't get stuck in it. I think a lot of times we have this thing that we want, and then we're like, oh, this is the way you have to get it. Right. And yet we're stuck in the way you have to get it rather than being focused on what we want and saying, okay, I have this agent. They're not putting me in front of it, the right people. So I could go and look for another agent. But like I've met people that have huge careers and they've never had a great agent. Right? The way they've done that is a million different ways, whether it's like LinkedIn or Instagram or IMDb Pro or going to networking events. I have a chick that goes to red carpet events and networking events all the time. She is always working. She's doing a show right now that she made she did a thing right now for 4 days that she made $1,800. Right? Like she's always working. She's worked 20 days out of this year so far.
Wow.
Right? And she has her agent can't even keep up with her. She does have an agent, but they're not really doing anything for her. And so, so there's a lot of ways to tackle this, but pay attention to where the love is coming from. If you're going to Instagram and that's working for you, and trust me, I know about losing your Instagram account. I have had countless people have that happen.
Oh my God, never again.
Right.
But someone asked a question on there, does work pitching yourself? I don't pitch myself. I started, like I said, by just following every casting, every producer, director, showrunner, you name it. And I start as human, oh wow, that dog is so cute. Oh wow, I'd love to visit that country someday. So I don't pitch at all for a while, and maybe a few weeks later I say, oh, I think I did one of my gigs was one of my, kind of get into it that way, not selling yourself, but wow, that place looks familiar. I think I filmed there or something like that,
Yeah, build a relationship. That's what you're doing.
Right.
Building a relationship because people hire people they know.
Right. I mean, so you don't go on there and say, hi, I'm a great actor. Can you call me? I mean, I don't bring up acting to the third or fourth time I post, and it's very, very subtle, like I said, it's like, oh, you have the greatest pictures. For some reason, I feel like I've been there. Maybe it was on the set, just to kind of get it in there that you're an actress, and you can build from there. But, start being human before being an actress.
I love that. Be human before being an actress. Great, Andy. Congratulations on the booking.
Thank you. It's going to be just me and Tom Arnold. I can't believe it.
I love that. So
thank you.
So, I say keep doing what you're doing in there because that's really your gold. You don't need to always, like, I think that's a disclaimer. Like, we don't always do it by, and really ultimately when you get to be an actress that's worked a lot, a lot of times it's like 90% of the jobs I get are because of people I know. Yeah. Hey, Helene.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi.
So I'm on all these casting directors' mailing lists now, just by saying, wow, that was a great tip. Or I can recommend a few: Crash Acting, Audition, Prola. Again, I just went down and typed auditions, casting, producers, directors, and they all come up, and I've had great conversations
There you go.
on Instagram with some. And then this producer decided to look me up and called me. And I was like, when I saw on the caller ID, I'm like, what?
Right.
And when I looked him up, because I'm not looking up everybody I was like, my God, this is not a small time. He's like produced 20 movies. And trust me, you and I have heard of most of them. So I was like, really, wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank
Andy.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, Helene.
So I can vouch that she does comment on my posts. But I also want to say I do have to go. I am going to see you tomorrow. And for those of you, I want to let you know it isn't just Valerie's program. I'm busy Thursday. No, I'm busy Friday. there's like a couple days where there's free seminars, because after Valerie, I'm going to a free networking women in film. And then I'm staying for the evening portion, the block of films, because a friend of mine, film is in there. So I think, so networking, just like Valerie said, most of my work is done by friends, people who know me, people who refer me. Yeah. And
Oh,
I
that's
think
too
the other
funny,
stuff-
Elaine. Yeah,
Pardon?
she follows me. That's too funny. Yeah, she follows me too.
Yeah, all right. So anyway, I just want to say thanks, Val, and I will see you tomorrow. So I'm really looking.
Oh,
forward-
I'm so excited to see
Yes,
you. And
it's-
I think I'm gonna go to the women in film thing with you and with
Yeah,
Laura and with
please do,
Regina.
yeah.
And then I think we are gonna do that block of films. Whose film is in that block of films?
Her name is Katie Braden. I was in a theater company with her. It's called Unpacking. And
Oh,
I'll introduce her. She's lovely. We've acted
I'm
together.
going tonight to the party tonight.
Yeah, tonight I'm doing, to know what I'm doing tonight, because I've got my law stuff, all day. I'm going to Mara McCann's, she's having a free.
Oh, she's having that panel.
Panel on producing.
Is that
So-
live? No.
No, that's Zoom.
Yeah. I told her
Okay.
I would be on my way into the city, so I couldn't, she sent me, but that looks like a good panel.
Embarrassment of riches, as they say. Anyway, thank you. I must run. Good to see
Okay.
everybody.
I'm gonna run too. I've got a couple
Right.
of clients this
Ah.
afternoon and then I'm headed into the city. But if you're around and want to come to the Winter Film Awards, we'll be there all weekend. It's gonna be fun. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow. All righty. Bye everyone. Have a good day.